Now, Gentiles who did not pursue righteousness have attained to righteousness, even the righteousness of faith. But Israel, pursuing the law of righteousness, has not attained to the law of righteousness. Why? Because they did not seek it by faith, but as it were by the works of the law. For they stumbled at the stumbling stone. I talked a little bit about this last week. This stumbling stone. What did the Jew seek? What were they seeking throughout the history of the Jews after receiving the law? What were they seeking? Do you know? They were seeking righteousness, which is ultimately the Messiah brings that. They were seeking righteousness. What is righteousness? To be on right standing with God. That's what they want. And ultimately, isn't that what every one of us want? In the end, do we not want to be in right standing with God? Have you ever been to a funeral and no matter what that person did or who they were, and they're always preaching about heaven at a funeral. And every person that comes to that funeral and sits there, they want to hear that, you know, my loved one went to heaven, no matter what. That's the hope of mankind in the end. Now, maybe in your life right now where you're living, you don't care about heaven. You think it's a long ways away, and you think I can be any way I want to be and live how I want to live, and it doesn't matter because I'll deal with that later. But in the end, that's what you want. In the end, no matter what's going on in your life now, you have to agree in the end that when you die, you want to go to heaven. Now, there are some foolish people out there who let their mouth overrun everything and say, I don't care where I go, or I want to go to hell because that's where my friends are. I'm going to have a party down there. I've heard that, all that stuff. But down deep inside, no, that's not it at all. If you think you're going to die today, or if you think it's something happened right now, let me tell you, you're going to talk with Jesus. You will. Be it an atheist or a Buddhist, whatever, you're going to call out and you're going to, it's just what's going to happen. I've told you about Jesse Duplantis, right? And at times he's been in like 3 or 4 plane crashes. And on that plane he's been there with atheists and Buddhists and Hindus and all different sorts of people. And he said every time he was going down in that plane, I forget how many plane wrecks he's been in, every time he said then people were calling out to Jesus. Even the atheists were calling out to Jesus. God, Jesus! Jesse's going, shut up, boy, he don't exist. You know, he's saying all kinds of things. He's trying to... And you just got, if you guys know him, you just got to appreciate that what he said. It's hilarious. But it's true. On your deathbed, you want to be in right standing with God. And this is what the Jew wanted. The Jew, no different than anyone else. We a lot of times look at the Jews in a different way. Oh, they were this way. They killed Jesus and all this stuff. And we got all these people out there who hate Jews because of that, and they hated Jews not even realizing who's driving them to that hate in the first place. It's called anti-Semitism. You've heard of that term? The Jew wanted to be in right standing with God, just like everyone else. But they stumbled at something. They stumbled when they pursued the law. There was a stone there that caused them to stumble. And what they stumbled on was legalism. Now we know Jesus Christ is the rock of offense, okay, so I'm not taking that, but this is what caused them to stumble. Their legalistic view of the law. They wanted to follow the letter of the law. And they pursued righteousness by works. They pursued righteousness by trying to obtain it through following the law. But even God told Moses to tell him this, if you will not live by the law, you'll die by it. We also know that if you break one commandment, it's like a domino effect. You can't just say, well, God, I only broke one commandment, because then you start Xing these other ones out too. It's not the way it works like you think. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, God. You know, it doesn't work that way. They stumbled because they wanted to follow it by works, and they sought it by works, and they missed the mark. And let me tell you something. Or let me ask you something. Are we any different today? Are we any different today when we approach this God thing, or we approach Christianity with our good works. Mom and Dad went to church all my life. I went to church and I've done this. And my mom and dad, I'll never forget this. My mom and dad paid tithes to that church for 27 years. And the guy never would tell me if he was saved or not. That's all they could respond to me. I asked him if he was saved. My mom and dad went to church 27 years. They paid tithes to that church. That's all I ever got from him. Felt bad for him. I was like, that's good and all, but what about you? Well, Mom and Dad went to church 27 years. And I've talked to people, what about you? Are you saved? Well, I've been baptized. I was raised in the church. I've been this. And they never give me a testimony. They never tell me. I give the shirt off my back. I'm a good person. I'm a good dad. I'm a good father. I'm a good husband. I'm a good wife. I'm a good homemaker. I do everything I'm told to do. I obey my parents. I do all these good things. That's no different. That's no different than what we see and read about the Jews who are following the law, or the letter of the law. They're wanting to obtain righteousness, but they missed it because they sought it by works. Many of us, even in the Gentile world, the non-Jewish world, the world everywhere else, we miss the mark because we want to think about how good we've been. I'm not that bad. I used to say it, a lot of you may not realize this, and I don't want to make anybody stumble. But I used to drink alcohol at a very heavy rate when I was a younger person. And me and another friend, a good friend, was actually patting our backs on the way to hell. We would sit on the back of that truck and we would talk about ourselves. No, we're not that bad. I've never killed anybody. I don't steal. My dad taught me not to steal. My dad taught me not. The girlfriends I had, I tried to treat good. And I was just a good person. I'm just a good old boy. Just likes to drink a little bit. I'm not that bad. And have a friend of mine that agreed right along with me. We pat each other on the back, basically. So, we're just pretty good guys. I'm going to tell you something about good people. Good people go to hell. You need to realize that today. Because if that's all you think about yourself, and you say, I'm a good person, good people never repent, good people never seek anything better because they're already good enough. And you'll miss the mark because you're trying to attain righteousness. You don't realize it, but you're trying to attain righteousness by your own good works. And let me tell you something. You cannot approach God in this way with your good works. How can you approach a holy God? How can sinful man approach a holy God? Well, I'm not that bad. Have you ever committed one sin? Let me ask you that. Is there anyone here, I'll never forget this one night. I got so many memories of my younger Christian life. I was like on the second row of the church one night, and there was an awesome service. Pastor Hurt was up there, and he said, I thought he said, is there anyone here who has ever sinned? Well, what he actually said, is there anyone here who has never sinned? And when he asked that question, I raised my hand. I don't know if you guys remember that one. Somebody was with me there that night. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget feeling so stupid, looking around going, man, nobody else is raising their hand. I was out here where Sean was at in that church. I was on the second row, And I was like, then I think Becky may have said, hey, he said, or whatever, but I felt really stupid. He never said nothing. He probably laughed. It's probably, I don't know how he kept from laughing. The guy laughed all the time. And is there anyone here, I'll make it plain. Is there anyone here that has never sinned? I don't think any of us could ever raise our hand to that question. Now, there might be one in here who's never sinned, that little Jude back there. Little baby's never sinned. Okay? But he's got a sin nature in him. One of these days, Lucas is going to have same down and same straight. Right now, it don't seem possible, does it? But it's going to happen. One of these days, Lucas is going to say, now, Jude, don't you do that. And he's going to be inching over there, and you're all sin. What is that about us that want to do wrong? We all do it. And we will do it. We will change, we will sin, we will do this and that. God is still God. And the offer still stands. The only way you can approach God is by faith. And let me ask you something this morning. When are you going to give it up? When are we all just going to give it up and totally trust in God? When are we going to stop saying, God, I'll be your partner in this salvation thing? You know, I'll bring my good works, you can help me out a little bit, and we'll get it right together. Or when are you going to change and say, God, there is nothing I have. There's nothing I have to offer but myself. There is nothing I have to bring to the table. There's nothing I can bring. What can I bring you, God? What can I give you? And the only answer is you. The only answer to that question is you. When are you going to come to God? When are you going to come to God with nothing else? You see, Jesus said this, you must enter in at the straight gate. You see, that gate's not wide enough for anything else but you. You can't bring baggage. You can't bring anything with you to God. You can only come to God through the straight gate, the only way. And it must be you and only you coming to God and saying, I need you. I trust you. I believe in you. And there's no other way. When are you going to choose that way? When are you going to choose His way and stop doing things your way? Think about this, folks. Think about it hard. Think about it long and deep, and listen to the Holy Spirit. Let's all stand. You see, James gives us a word. I like James. If you ever read James, you can imagine yourself in his church squirming in the seats as he was preaching. He was a no-nonsense kind of guy. He just brought it straight out. Whether you was rich or poor, it didn't matter your status to him. He just said it like it was. And ain't that the way we should always be? James says this, faith without works is dead. You see, it's not works that you can bring to faith. It's actually the opposite. It's the faith